because some of them are really good, some of them are interesting, including mine. Mine was a weird one, I'm not even gonna lie, but I thought it would be entertaining to read one or two from this anthology book here. So yeah, anthology, junkyard. The back, you can tell it's like handmade anthology. Great stories. The drawings and everything. It's pretty cute. I like it. So, before I do that though, just stop looking over there. Before I do that, I'm just gonna put on some lip gloss real quick. Some lip gloss. I just didn't get some lip gloss because my lips feel a little dry. I'll look over here so I can see what I'm doing. Let's get into it. That's right. On the first page, I open it says, "Welcome to the world of the fourth grade mind." Basically, what I had just said. I forgot it even said that, to be honest. The following stories are pieces of your sons and daughters. The following stories are pieces your sons and daughters have selected as their favorite. It just started to rain outside. Hopefully that doesn't bother you. That might be relaxing though. But they have followed the writing process of brainstorming, researching, writing, rewriting, and rewriting again with new and improved revisions. So I highlighted numbered things because that was important at the time. You'll laugh, you'll smile, you'll cringe, and you'll even find mistakes to chuckle over as you reread them years from now. Isn't that something? The teachers knew. But just keep in mind, they wrote these at the young age of 9 and 10. Oh my gosh. Y'all. That's been a while. Oh my god. That was almost 15 years ago. I hate it. Anyway, and they are not perfect. They're written by your wonderful children. Hopefully everyone will notice an improvement in their skill as a writer since the beginning of the year. Can I read? Good luck to all as you enter Orchard. That was the name of the next middle school because for some reason there were 2 middle schools where I was. There's one for 1st through 4th grade, and then one for 5th and 6th, and then another one for 7th and 8th. I don't know. Anyway, and remember to keep writing with your heart about your experiences and with your creative minds. Oh, okay. Let's see here. first one. It's called Everest 2, Chapter 1. Our dog. I don't know where the first Everest is, but here we go. We talked and talked for about an hour. We finally decided, because we worked so hard on climbing this much of Mount Everest, and we had the rest of the crew back, we would be able to climb the rest of it. I thought that I should probably contact my mom, and so I did. I told her all about our journey. She said, "Be careful," like every mom would say if their son was climbing Mount Everest. Well, yeah. I thought climbing the rest of Mount Everest was a huge risk, but the other people were thinking the opposite. So, I had this idea, but I don't know if it's too loud. Is it too loud? Might be able to stop. Getting distracted. I thought climbing the rest of Mount Everest was a huge risk, but the other people were thinking the opposite. They were thinking we should be famous. We would be famous. Famous, I thought to myself. I couldn't blurt it out to them or they'd get mad at me, so I just kept that thought on my mind. One thing I could say was, "Don't you know how much trouble we were in before?" And I did. Next, we told them my brothers and my story. They were amazed at how we survived in all that bad weather. Soon we had second thoughts of climbing the rest of Mount Everest, but then I had to listen to the older ones, the crew and my brother. Their idea again was to climb the rest of Mount Everest. I thought it was a very stupid idea to listening older people. To listen to older people. Chapter 2. We quickly set up our camp and finally had a good night's sleep. When we all woke up, it was already 10 in the morning, and our average time to wake up was 7:30. We were so late. This time I couldn't blame them because I had slept in too. So I just told them to quickly get ready. Even though I wasn't the oldest in my crew, I had to tell all of them what to do or else they would just sleep. I had to wake them up, make them to get ready. Tell them where to go and so on. They were as lazy as a sloth. Today they got ready very quickly. I quickly made them breakfast and we set off. I thought there was more of a chance of an avalanche when we were higher, so we were very careful where we went. But still, we didn't know where the avalanche would be. The only thing we could do was stay together, but it was just a normal day for Mount Everest. About negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually, it would be a little warm because of our height. Okay. Chapter 2. I think they meant chapter 3. The next second, we saw a very tall man with black hair and normal shoes on, not the ones you're supposed to wear while climbing Mount Everest. He looked as tall as a very tall basketball player. "What are you doing here?" I yelled over the prevailing winds, but he didn't answer. Oh, prevailing, that was a big word for 4th grade. "Maybe he's deaf," I said to my brother. "I doubt it," my brother said. He then turned around and looked at us. It looked like he lived on Mount Everest. I asked him now, "Do you live here?" He replied this time, but in a different language. We didn't know which language, but it sounded like Chinese. Oh my god. Now, at least we found a huge variety of food, because we saw a whole village right before our eyes. On Mount Everest. I quickly said to my brother, "That's where that person lives." We then ran to the village as fast as we could. Chapter 4. The village. The village was huge. It was probably as large as a normal-sized city. We then ran to a place that said something in Chinese. My brother told me the sign said, "Hire a translator." He knew because he learned Chinese in school. Okay. We went in the place. It wasn't as small as we thought it was. It was huge. All of the people were talking in different languages. Some people were even talking in English. I quickly ran to one of the people who were talking in English. They were the translators. I asked him how much it would cost to hire you. What? He yelled. Everyone faced him now. We don't use money here, we trade, he said, lowering his booming voice. I asked him, what do you trade? His reply was, anything. Now I asked him, what would we have to give you to hire you? Maybe a pound of food. That way I could translate English to Chinese for a day. You're hired, I said. That's a lot of food, and only for a day, are you kidding? Okay. That was a very reasonable price, I thought, as the crew, the man, and I walked out the door. We now asked the man, what does that say? His reply was store, in a weird accent. Then we ran to the place that said store. It was almost the same thing as our modern store, but there were different items. We walked through the aisles, but there was nothing we needed, so we walked out. But then we were about to open the door, someone stopped us. But when we were about to open the door, someone stopped us. He said something in a different language. After that, the translator said he was saying, you have to pay us even though you didn't buy anything. I asked the translator. His reply was, you have to pay because it takes money for cooling, heating, and lighting. That's ridiculous, I yelled. It was weird they used the same things that we used in our household. Why? Why is it weird? Oh boy. I handed him a slice of bread that I had in my backpack, and then I set off to place that. The translator said it was a restaurant. We walked inside. It was like an old-fashioned restaurant. The waiter asked us, according to the translator, what would you like? I asked the translator to say, I don't know. After that, I asked him to say, what do you have? We now told the waiter to give us the best dish you have. Then the waiter said, we can't. We have the best food in town. We now told the waiter to give us the best dish you have. Oh, God. Sorry, I just reread what I just said. Anyway, we sat on wooden chairs and had a wooden table. It took about 15 minutes to make the dish, a very short time compared to the taste. It was probably a better dish than my mom's best dish. I thought to myself, when we walked out, we paid the waiter with some rice. We saw a place with beds, so we went there next. It was a place where people worked, here lived. We had to trade something to live here. We then walked in. It was fairly large. We asked the translator to say to her, we'll give you 4 slices of bread if you let us have a room. Her reply, according to the translator, was, yes. After that, we walked up to our room. Then we got there. We slept for about 12 hours. When we woke up, we got ready as fast as we could. When we ran out of the place, I paid the lady, but a whole crowd was outside. At first, I didn't know why, but then I knew that they now knew we were climbing Mount Everest. They wanted to climb with us. I asked the translator to announce that we will pick 3 people to come with us. Chapter 5. Trouble, 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 trouble. But then we saw clouds rising to the sky. We ran to the place where we stayed as fast as we could, but we were too late with all of the noise we were making. Made huge chunks of the snow fall to the ground. Hundreds of people got buried in the snow. I quickly ran to my cell phone, but it was frozen. It couldn't open. I tried to calm everyone down, but I wasn't as loud as of their voices combined, so I just told my crew to be quiet. They were the only people who listened to me. After a couple of hours, they realized that their loudness attracted more and more snow, so we quieted down. After a couple of hours, small snowflakes were the only thing falling to the ground at this point, but when the crowd was loud, huge chunks of snow fell down, plus the snowflakes. One day passed, but the snow kept on flying down from the dark gray cloud. the clouds, and you needed a cell phone to call them to do it, and my cell phone was frozen. Then I had another idea. I could be able to go into a person's home, and with about 35 degrees Fahrenheit inside, I think it would do the job. Oh my god. I mean, yeah. Going inside out. So I ran into a large house and I left the cell phone there. Fortunately, the ice melted and the cell phone unfroze. I quickly called my mom to find out the place that drops those kind of metals phone number. When I got it, I called them, but they said they would do it for $50,000. $50,000, I said. Oh, fine. They said they would be here in about 15 hours. I went outside to tell everyone the news, and in about 15 hours, I don't think you knew the concept of time, but it's okay. It's okay. I remember being like, mine is even worse than this. Trust me. Anyway, and in about 15 hours, we saw a plane in the sky. In a few minutes, it started to clear up, and the first time in a couple of months, we saw the sun. Even though we wasted $50,000, it was worth living. We were never going to climb Mount Everest ever again. And that is the end of that story. Oops. Everest too. But that was good. That was cute. This is actually really fun to reread these after so long. And camera change because my camera died. My real camera right up here died. You can't see it. I can't really bring it down more, but it died. So I switched to my phone because I am too impatient to wait for it to charge. So I'm just gonna put a phone video and the video that I recorded on my camera together. I hope that it looks okay. So let us continue with some more stories from this anthology, shall we? Okay. This next one is really short. It's called Forest Fire. It's called Forest Fire by Alex Jackson. Shout out to Alex Jackson, wherever you are now. Reading your story on YouTube from the 4th grade. So, here we go. One steaming hot day in a tropical forest, Rick Parker was studying endangered animals of the forest and why they are endangered. He needs to find out at least one animal that was endangered or he will be fired because he did not find any important information at all this year. He was starting to get a little tired and decided to take a little nap under a eucalyptus tree. About 4 hours later, he woke up to thick black smoke in his face. He covered his mouth and looked to see where the smoke was coming from, and it was all over and behind him where there were trees on fire, and one thing that he saw was a koala. It was on fire, and it was dying from the fire, and it was too slow to get away from the fire. Oh my god. But he did not want to worry about that. He wanted to get safe from the forest fire. All of the smoke and fire made Rick dizzy, and then he fainted in the middle of a forest fire. I get it, it's a forest fire. He was left alone with nobody to help him. Goodness gracious. This child. Just as a flame was about to catch on him, a giant branch burned off and fell on Rick, and he woke up. Rick had also forgotten where he was because he got a concussion. Rick did not even notice the fire because he was confused. He started to head towards the river, about 1 mile away and the closest safe place. water was moving fast, but if Rick ran at his fastest, he would have a chance. He was running at the fastest that he has ever run. The fire was about 1 foot behind him. All of a sudden, he saw the river. There was a log to cross the river, and he went across it. He started to walk down the riverbank. Soon he came across a small boat and 2 paddles with it. Flames had started to catch on the side of the river where he was on. He quickly jumped on the boat and started rowing the boat away. All of a sudden, the boat stopped. Rick thought that he had hit a log underwater, but a green head popped out of the water. It was a crocodile. He started to hit it with his paddle. After a few hits, the crocodile fell down into the water and died. Oh my god, this story. Rick was fine, but the bottom of the boat had a small hole from the crocodile about 1 inch wide. Water started to enter the boat. He searched his bag for something to block the hole. Luckily, hole spelled W-H-O-L-E, by the way. Luckily, he found a wooden block that he put on top of the hole, spelled H-O-L-E correctly. But then the block got pushed away by the water, so Rick stepped on it and kept his foot there. Soon he saw some wide open grassy plains with different animals roaming them. Then he looked back, and the forest was all in flames. And he wished that he could put the flames out and save the animals. He saw something in the distance that looked like a car. Rick was now getting very hungry and very thirsty. When he got to the car, its gas was full and everything was working fine. It also had a map to get out of the forest into the city, Alec, where his lab was. It was a bumpy ride, but he got there and told his boss what had happened, and Rick was promoted, and he would never have to go out to the forest with his new job. That night, Rick went home with a good feeling of what had happened that day. He let a koala die. He told his family all about it, and they were amazed. Rick had planned a trip to the forest with his family next summer, because he had really enjoyed the forest. No, he didn't. He went to bed with a happy feeling and had good dreams. The end. Oh boy. Oh my god. And then he wrote a second story about Rick called Back to the Forest. Now look at it. Oh, it's very short. Let's read the sequel, shall we? Back to the forest. Rick Parker and his family were going on a trip to the rainforest. He wanted to show his family where he went last time. They were flying by helicopter. The pilot seemed very old, like he was in his late 90s. He had a bad cold. They were about halfway into their flight when the pilot started choking on something. Then he collapsed. Rick found a first aid kit in the front, but there was nothing in the kit that could help him. He called the people at the base, but nobody picked up. He turned on autopilot and checked on the real pilot. His heart stopped and he was not breathing. The gas tank said empty and a beeping noise started to sound. Oh my gosh. There were 3 parachutes and 3 people in the helicopter. The helicopter started going down. They were reading how to get the parachute on and how to jump. The family was about 500 feet from the ground when they jumped off. The 3 of them were slowly drifting down at about 5 miles per hour. Very specific. They landed right by the lake where the helicopter had landed. Rick swam out to the helicopter. As he was swimming, he thought to himself, whenever I go on an adventure, it turns into we're missing a page because that's the best. smell got even worse. It turns into the smell got even worse. The helicopter was flooded to about knee high. Rick smelled the worst smell ever, but he managed to get his bag and the survival bag. He swam away and grabbed some berries. The shelter was turning out good. It was getting dark and they all went to bed. The three of them did not wake up to the best sight. There was a giant bear ready to eat them. Jake grabbed a stick and gave it to Rick and he started chasing the bear away. The bear went into the woods and the woods that it went into were completely burnt down. He told his family to come over. Rick told them about the forest fire from last time and he could get out of the forest from there. They were all watching out for the bear. Then they saw an opening and a gigantic grizzly bear was standing there ready to eat them. The three of them quietly hid behind a bush and waited for the bear to leave. The bear started to look behind the bush. As soon as possible, the three of them ran back to their shelter. When they got close to the shelter, the bear chased them into the lake and it was ready to wrestle them. They all swam to the helicopter for safety. Rick had noticed that the terrible smell was gone. Rick told his family to watch the bear while he tried to grab a metal pole out. Rick just managed to get it out and hit the bear in the head and he fainted. He dropped the metal pole on his foot and then he woke up to hurry up. We need to go to the airport. Why the airport? We're going to the rainforest. Oh yeah. So it was all just a dream, said Rick. The end. Oh boy. That is something. Wow. I think I'm gonna find my story next because it's just so random. It needs to be read. Oh, there's poems in here too. I have to read this poem real quick. It's called Fall by Harrison Freed. Shout out to Harrison Freed. Hope you're doing good wherever you are now. Falling leaves. The beauty of fall. An orchard of leaves ready to fall. Long for all the leaves to fall. Late nights watching the last leaf fall. So deep. Oh, this is a good poem by Matthew P. Bestman. I hope he's doing well too. I remember him. He's a sweet kid, very smart. It's called Walking Skeletons, Poor Holocaust Victims. No food, no sleep, just work and fast. The walking skeletons of our past. They killed your children and your wife. You're just a walking skeleton with no point in life. No fat, no skin, you're just one big bone. Death befalls you in day, but here you groan. Why are they so cruel? Why do they do this to you? The only reason is because you're a Jew. He's Jewish. Jewish faith, so that was something that meant a lot to him. And that was really deep for a fourth grader. That was awesome. was still ringing. I hopped out of bed, turned off the clock, and yawned. As I walked through my room, I heard a yell in the kitchen, a girl's yell. Then I thought, how could that be? My mom died when I was young. She died in a fire. Now I'm the only girl in the house anymore. I got a bat from my door and headed downstairs. I snuck in the kitchen and looked in with a tight grip on my back. I saw a white powder-looking figure, kind of like a ghost. I snuck up behind her and hit her with it. It went right through her. You are a ghost, I yelled. Don't be scared, it yelled after me. Huh? This is the sentence I wrote in. Huh? I said. Don't be scared. I understand you. Oh. Well, I'm a ghost. I thought different. I know, but that doesn't mean that I can't understand you. I did not think of it that way before. Question mark at the end. Hi, my name is Sherry Crow. I don't know. I had the name Cheryl Crow on the brain when I wrote this. I remember that. I don't know why Cheryl Crow was in my head when I wrote this, but now the Sherry Crow. Hi, I'm Abby Crow. Your last name is Crow? Yes. Why, is there a problem? No, it's just that my mother's name is Sherry Crow. Wait, are you my... Yes. Cool. Oh, I have to get to school now. I ran upstairs. Look, it's just all cold. My mom's a ghost and she's saying hi to me. I didn't know who I was at first. And so now I ran upstairs, put a black dress on, and high-heeled black shoes, and a magenta purse. I ran to the kitchen to get my book bag. Why am I going to school in a small black dress and black high-heel shoes with a magenta purse and a backpack? Ugh. When I got to the kitchen, I saw my mom making her famous eggs, bacon, and pancakes with fresh orange juice. I think I was hungry. Oh, that was mom making breakfast. May I have some of your delicious meal? I said in a foreign language. I don't. You may. My mom said the same way. I sat down and looked at my plate of food. I got my fork and began eating my breakfast. It was great. First came the mouth-watering eggs. Yeah, I was hungry. Then came the soft and sweet pancakes. After that came the crunchy, seasoned bacon. Last but not least came the rich-tasting, fresh and mouth-watering orange juice to wash it all down. I described the breakfast real good. Thanks for the food, Mom, I said. You're welcome, honey. Can you hand me my book bag? Sure. Catch, she yelled, tossing it to me. Thanks. Love you. Love you too, she yelled after me. I ran to my bike and started to pedal. It wasn't too... Imagine wearing a mini black dress, black high heel shoes, a backpack, and a magenta purse, and you're riding a bike to school. You're riding a bike in a dress and high heels. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, it wasn't too far to get to school because school was just around the corner. I put my bike on the rack and scurried in. I ran down the hall to room 136. Long way to run in high heels. Why was I in high heels? When I reached my room, I was panting like a dog. I went to the water fountain in front of the classroom door and went to class. Mr. Mac, oh Mary Mac, just started attendance. I slipped to my desk just in time. He said my name. Here, I called proudly. Good morning, class, Mr. Mac said in his booming voice. Good morning, Mr. Mac, he said back loudly. This morning we're going to do, or Bernie Mac, this morning we were going to do history. Take out your history books, class. Ugh, I said in my head. When I bent down, I felt a tap on my back. I thought it was Bad Billy. but it really was my mom. What are you doing in here? I asked. I felt lonely. But you have to leave now. Okay, she said. I looked around, seeing everyone looking at my mom in awe. Hi? I said, embarrassed. I watched a lot of Disney movies back then. Earl is like a Disney original movie. Then everyone fainted, including Mr. Mac. But everyone was conscious again. The school day was half over. I slept that amount of the school day. When I woke up, I didn't notice where I was. As soon as I adjusted to place, I saw I was in a broom closet. When I opened the door, the class was unconscious. What was I on? I took 2 steps out and I started to spin. I spinned faster and faster, harder and harder. Suddenly, I was being picked up by a strong wisp of air. Then I was swirling around and around until I was up to the ceiling. Then I dropped, plummeting into the earth's surface. Wow, it's a hard drop. Everything was still. I stood up, my head pounding. I walked around dizzily, almost faint, falling. I found myself in a dark hallway. I walked to a door on the left. No one was there. I panicked. Where am I? Where do I go? I want to go home, I cried. Then I remembered a song from a movie. I started to hum it. It started like this. When I think of home, I think of a place where there is love overflowing. Not me putting the whiz in my story. I wish I were home. I wish I were back there with the things I've been knowing. When the tall grass bends into leaning, suddenly the raindrops falling have a meaning, etc. I felt a lot better now. I walked around the hall, humming it from room to room. I walked to an elevator on the right of the wall. I pressed the elevator button and the doors slowly opened. Then I saw Jake in the elevator. Who is Jake? Who is Jake? I saw Jake in the elevator. I joined him. Where did you come from? I had the same question. I asked. I was getting some paint to paint a poster. Oh, let's get downstairs. How do I know that we need to get downstairs? I didn't know where I was. Okay, he said. Push number 4. How did I know what number it was when I was so confused? Like, not even like 5 seconds ago. He pushed number 4. Nothing happened. We pushed it again, but nothing happened. We pushed the button. Then the elevator began to spin, harder and harder, faster and faster. Then it stopped. I pushed the open button. We were in class. Cool, we said. We sat down and finished off the day of school. And then I wrote in underneath, and Jake painted the poster and got to class. In parentheses, Jake is my boyfriend. And that's it. I think that's enough for today. That was very amusing, and I definitely want to read more for you guys.